The final bell of the day was still an hour away, but Friday afternoon already felt like it was dragging on forever. The anticipation of the weekend and the upcoming spring break made focusing in the stuffy biology classroom nearly impossible. Mr. Thompson, our teacher, seemed to sense the restlessness and decided to give us a break from the monotony of cell division lectures by having us play a science trivia game on Kahoot. We eagerly logged in, our competitive spirits momentarily overshadowing our end-of-week fatigue. I was in the middle of celebrating a correct answer about photosynthesis when the loudspeaker crackled to life. The dean's voice, usually calm and composed, was now tight with urgency.
This is not a drill. Initiate lockdown procedures immediately.
A collective shiver ran through the class. Mr. Thompson's face turned pale as he quickly moved to turn off the lights and gestured for us to gather in the back corner of the room. He locked the door and pulled the blinds. The usual hum of the air conditioning ceased, plunging the room into an eerie silence. For several tense minutes, we sat huddled together, our breaths barely audible. Then, distant but unmistakable, came the sound of heavy footsteps echoing down the hallway. They were accompanied by a low, menacing growl that sent chills down my spine. The sound grew louder, more erratic, as if the person was thrashing about violently. Suddenly, a loud crash reverberated through the hall. The footsteps quickened, and now we could hear a series of horrifying thuds and muffled screams. The door to our classroom shook violently as someone banged against it. A guttural voice, filled with rage, screamed,
"I know you're in there."
The girl next to me, Sarah, whimpered softly, her face ashen. The door continued to rattle, and then we heard the unmistakable sound of something being dragged down the hall. Something heavy and metallic. Mr. Thompson motioned for us to stay quiet, but the terror in the room was palpable. One of the students, Jenny, couldn't take it any longer and fainted, collapsing into a heap on the floor. Her best friend, Emily, stifled a sob as she tried to revive her. The loudspeaker crackled again, and the dean's voice returned, now strained and nearly breaking.
We have an intruder in the building. He has already harmed several staff members. Stay hidden, stay silent, and wait for further instructions.
The gravity of the situation settled over us like a suffocating blanket. The intruder's screams and the sound of breaking glass, the air was thick, with the metallic scent of blood and something far more sinister. Minutes felt like hours. The noises eventually grew fainter, the screams more distant. We remained frozen, our ears straining for any sign of danger. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the door handle rattled again. But this time it was followed by a gentle knock and a whispered assurance.
It's the police. You're safe now.
Mr. Thompson cautiously opened the door, revealing two officers with grave expressions. They quickly escorted us out, instructing us to keep our eyes forward and not to look around. But curiosity got the better of me. As we walked down the hallway, I caught glimpses of the destruction, the splintered doors, shattered glass, and the pools of dark, congealed blood. We were herded into the gymnasium, where parents had already begun to arrive, their faces etched with worry. The police officers gave us brief updates, explaining that the intruder had managed to escape, leaving behind a trail of chaos and fear. The following days were a blur of news reports and hushed conversations. The school installed security cameras and hired additional staff, but the scars of that day remained. A week later, a gruesome discovery was made. Hidden behind a cluster of trees at the back of the school field were bloodstains and scattered pieces of torn clothing. The identity of the victim remained a mystery, adding another layer of horror to the already terrifying ordeal. To this day, the image of that blood-soaked field haunts me. The intruder was never found, and the fear of his return lingers in the back of my mind. I can only hope that wherever he is, he can no longer harm anyone. The lockdown, once a mere drill, had become a nightmare that left an indelible mark on all of us.